Hi everyone, welcome back to my next video. Today I am here with Miss J.
Hi Bob.
Thank you for joining us.
Hey everyone.
We did a video 2 years ago together.
Yeah.
Because you deliver RVs for a living.
Yes.
We're going to do an update because since then there have been a number of changes in the industry.
Exactly. There were several of the RV transporting companies. They've changed their requirements where before they didn't require you to have a CDL. Now they require you to have a CDL.
Do they all require it? Or?
No, not all of them. There are those companies that still just say you just have a regular driver's license. But I wanted to make it, clear and known that should someone go and apply and they run into that and they're surprised by the fact that they got to have a CDL, that may have not been the case then, but for some of the RV transporting companies, it is now.
And did you get your CDL? Do you have a CDL?
I did.
You did get one.
I did. I was with the company maybe about 2 years, and I decided after that, I said, I think I want to get my CDL because it will provide more of an opportunity for me. I could take the larger units with the air brakes and the big Class A's, 40-footers. A lot of those you got to have a CDL.
Right.
So I decided if I wanted to broaden my horizons in the industry, I need my CDL. But I didn't start with a CDL.
And you don't have to start. You can start now without one.
Exactly. Yes, you can.
And how, for the folks at home, can they realistically how did you do it, and how can they get a CDL?
Okay, well, there are certain companies. I chose not to go to the trucking companies. I just chose to not do that because I didn't want to be in debt. I didn't want to go drive a semi truck for a year, etc. And so I went to a bus company. And I drove for them, and they trained me. And so when you get that training, it's the CDL training. And once I was done, I had my CDL. I stayed with that company for X amount of time, still working for the transport company. But at the bus company, I was getting that experience under my belt. So there's the school district.
There you go.
Yeah, the school district. There's these tour bus companies. There's Greyhound and Peter Pan. That's on the East Coast. So there's a lot of other options to getting a CDL. Or not unless you know someone who has a truck, you go take the written part, find somebody with a cab of a semi-cab and do your driving part with
and
them.
Folks, just a little bit an aside, once you have your CDL, all over the country in the summer there are like rafting. Rafting's a big one. And so they'll have school buses.
Yes.
And they'll hire people with CDLs, and they'll usually they'll pay you $10, $12 an hour, but you'll make that much in tips. Once you have your CDL,
yes,
the sky's the limit.
The sky's the limit. So if you have a CDL, look up tour companies, look up some of these other bus companies that transport people from point A to point B. Look into the school districts, like Bob just mentioned.
Yes,
yeah.
The driving school bus, I think, is a great one. And something I've been meaning to tell people about is go down to Yuma, stay in the LTVA, go to the school district in the fall, have them train you. They'll get you your CDL. You drive, and then you can live on the LTVA for $180 a month. Drive into Yuma, out to Pilot Knob. It's like 10, not even 10 miles. And so you could be a school bus driver, all winter. Yes. Get your CDL, and then go do anything.
So they're off the whole summer. That's your downtime. That's your free time to go do whatever.
Yeah.
And still have a job when you come back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's just an exciting idea. The whole once you got your CDL, the whole world of jobs opens up to you.
Yes.
And RV transport sounds ideal as one of them.
Yes.
For a lot of people, not for everyone, but
right. Some of them are requiring you to have a tow car. Whereas back then that was not the requirement. When you're going out to purchase a tow vehicle, make sure it's towable. Ask the dealership, call the RV transporting company and say, what is the best vehicle to tow behind an RV? There's weight requirements. Not every vehicle they will allow you to tow behind the brand new RV because they're so heavy. You have to remember there's transmission issues. The vehicle hasn't been broken in yet, the RV,
Right.
You got to be, cognizant of certain things. And so when you go buy a tow vehicle, Make sure there are certain factors you have to factor in. Like for me, my tow vehicle, I take out 3 fuses and it makes it towable. You know, I won't tear up the transmission or anything. So, you know, just do your homework on that and you'll be good to go. But if you call some of the dealerships, you're gonna purchase a tow car, speak to the dealership first and say, hey, I need to know if this is towable, a towable vehicle. What do I need to do to make it towable? Yes.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier the tow away. That is when you're using your own truck to carry fifth wheels,
yes,
things like that.
Yes.
And you don't do that, so we're not addressing that.
Correct. But a lot of people get it like, you know, kind of confused, thinking it's the same thing when you talk about RV delivery. It's a separate entity in itself. One, you use your own vehicle. The other one, you sit behind the actual RV that you're delivering.
But that's a whole other thing, and we're not going to get into that. You'll have to do your own research on that.
Yes, absolutely. So there were some things that changed, and you really have to call them, do the research, ask the questions. What is the major thing? There were some RV transporting companies, there was only a requirement that you just needed a few points on your driver's license and they would still hire you.
But there are still some, just the average person out there still has a pretty good chance of getting a job.
Absolutely.
Right. So do you have any resources you can send them to, websites, company names?
Oh, sure. Well, the ones I've learned over time, the ones I've learned over the years, they're mostly centralized. They're in Indiana, like Wakarusa, Indiana, Elkhart, and Goshen. You have the companies like Quality, and they do box trucks, utility trucks, and some RVs. You have Classic Transport, you have Synergy Transport, you have Horizon Transport, and there's so many others, Maple Tree, Don Ray. You know, I mean, it's just a whole plethora of RV transport companies in that general area. Now, you really won't find them, you know, in these other states, you know, like the southern states or West Coast. They're mostly north, and that's where most of all the manufacturing places where they build the RVs are north. And you know, Bennett Transport is up in Iowa, Forest City, Iowa. So that's another good one too.
If people want to do a Google search, how will they to get this information?
Yeah, well, you Google just RV transport and they will all come up. And keep in mind, there's RV transporting for the drive-away division and RV transport for the tow-away division, which those who have the big, you know, 4x4s or vehicles, F-ton trucks, towing the fifth wheels. And the drive-away is the ones that you sit behind the wheel and you drive, you know. So there is a difference, but they offer both. You know, it depends on what you want to do. Kind of depends on really what you want to do.
Give me a typical example of a month in an RV transporter's life. How does it work?
Well, I'll use myself an example. I would drive to Indiana. I go to the yard and there's a whole slew of vehicles. I've been dispatched on a unit. I go to the yard, pick it up, attach my car. I go out the gate, the checkout gate. I get my money on a card. You know, they give you your 70%. Some companies are 50%, but 70%. I leave and I'm driving down the highway. Now, I know if I'm going to, say, Florida, it's going to take me at least 2.5 days. So I drive a couple of hours and I decide where I'm going to stay for the night. So I've already mapped that out. I stop at a Flying J's with the RV, sleep in the RV. You know, you sleep on the couch, the sofa, or the overhead cab, and then you do a check call. You do your electronic logs, you know, so that you don't go over your time. They know you've driven no more than 11 hours and you're getting 10 hours of sleep. And so the next morning I will get up and I'll keep down the same route that I've already mapped out for myself to deliver in Florida. When I get to the dealership, I will go ahead. I usually call and say, hey, I'm coming, I have a delivery for you, and they'll be expecting me. And then I find out where should I bring it in when I get there, so that I'm not like parked on a side street or something with a brand new unit. And I make my delivery the next morning, unhitch my car, call it in, delivery's been made, send in my paperwork. Some of them use Drive Axle. Some of them you can use their online app to submit your paperwork. And once you do that, you get the remaining of your 30% of your income, and you're free for the rest of the day. So you either can go back, or you can go to another destination, pick up another unit, or I usually go sightseeing. And then I'll just maybe do 1 or 2 a week, so I mean, I don't usually drive no more than 2 or 3 days, and I'll take a day off, and then I'll go get another and drive another 2 or 3 days. I'm picking up RVs like that.
Okay, give us an idea of what the money that you just made. So you got there, well, you had to drive there, and you had to burn your own gas to get there, and then you drove to Florida. And how much did you make in that trip?
Well, if you start, and normally they pay anywhere from 82 to $1 plus. If you have a diesel unit, it's going to pay you more. So let's just say I have a gas unit, and I get maybe 92 cents a mile, and that trip is about 900 miles from Indiana to somewhere in Florida. And I'm just going to throw out a ballpark figure. So let's just say $1 a mile, $900. Okay, just for one trip, just to drive for 2 days, $900. With that gas is going to cost you, out of that, it's going to cost you about somewhere between $2.50, maybe $2.75 in gas.
Less than $300.
Yes, less than $300.
So you made $600 for that 2 days of work.
Exactly.
Really hard back-breaking work. Driving an RV down the road.
Oh gosh, I just say it's not so, but yes, yes.
Well, you have expenses. You're paying for the insurance, your own insurance.
Yes. Well, we have a bond. The company covers you with an insurance bond.
Oh.
Yes.
So it's not you're not buying the insurance.
No. Well, what they do is they take out. Some of them are 7%. Until you reach a certain amount, like the bond is $1,500, they'll take out either 10% until you reach that $1,500, but that is yours once you leave the company. You get that back.
You paid for it.
Yes, you get that back. You're no longer transporting for them. They'll send you that back. So it's really an investment. You're covered by insurance, and yet you get the money back when you're done.
Well, that's very good.
Yes, yes. So if you do Florida twice a week, you've made $1,200.
But you still had to drive
expenses.
there the first time and drive back.
Yeah, so you figure gas, and so that's going to come out of my own pocket, and you really want to know how to budget your income. You don't want to get your advance, and then you get way down to, say, Florida again, and you spent all your money. So now how are you going to get back to get your next unit, etc.? And you got to make sure you have enough gas to get the unit to its delivery point.
So that would be, in essence, it'd be if you spent another 2 days to drive back, that was a 4-day round trip turnaround.
Yes.
So you could do how many times could you do that comfortably? And 2 days in between, so actually about once a week.
Once a week, yes.
Once a week.
Mm-hmm. If you're doing that long distance, sometimes I will just do 2 short runs. They may be 500 miles.
So if you did it 4 times in a month, that's $2,000.
Yeah.
Potentially, pretty comfortably, $2,000. You paid $2,000 to live on wheels and sightsee.
Yes. I started back in like 2012.
Oh,
2012.
5 years.
Yeah.
Because you'd been doing it before I met you, of
so
course.
7 years almost now. I retired from corporate America back in 2010.
Right.
And after that, I got into the industry.
You're retired. You're now living on your pension and some savings.
Yes.
And are you building money?
Yes, I shared the other day at the work panel forum, and thank you so much for having me on that. I work it where if I take this one unit, okay, that's going to pay all my expenses for the month. I take another unit, that may be my play money. I take another unit, that'll be my savings.
Right.
So if I do 3 a month, once a week, I'm covered. I'm covered for the whole month.
And including a savings.
Yes.
Building ahead.
Exactly, building ahead. And I just continue that cycle month after month, and then come towards the winter where you see me now, I shut down for the winter. I will have maybe did a couple of extra runs just to build up more savings so I can take off 3 months at the end of the year.
Right.
You know, into the new year.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty good. And you mentioned maybe one time you'll want to go to Alaska.
Yes.
You get a paid trip to Alaska.
Oh yes, and it pays very well. You're looking at least, you know, $6,000, but by the time you drive out there, I don't know what the cost would be. I would imagine you'd probably make about, I don't know, maybe $4,000 for that trip. Because it's going to cost you at least $2,000, you know, maybe two plus.
In gas.
In gas, yeah. But if you have a nice Class B you're transporting, you really make out like a bandit.
Yeah, because they're going to get some pretty decent gas mileage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're drive Class Bs to Alaska all the time.
All the time,
Yeah.
yes, they do. And I'm so happy that you encouraged me, Bob, to do the video, the interview, because there's been so many people who have bought RVs, you know, from the companies that I deliver from, and then there's been so many people who have gone and gotten hired, and they say they're living their dream now in driving RVs, transporting RVs, and they're living their dream. They have children, and some were out of work, and it's just such a wonderful feeling to see people, you know, living their life and not having to really struggle as hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a good life. I mean, what we've described is a lot of driving, but if you enjoy driving, that's a pleasure.
Sitting in a cushiony seat, brand new RV, oh my goodness, I mean, really?
And a big deal is you're self-employed.
Yes.
You own your own business.
Yes.
You're a contractor.
Yes.
And you have to do your own taxes.
Yes.
And you have to plan your route and not blow all your money.
Yes.
It takes a certain discipline to be self-employed.
Exactly. You're right, Bob. It really does. And it'll grow on you. It's almost like hands-on training. As you go, you figure out, oh, wow, this worked, I'm going to do that again. This doesn't work, I will not be doing that again.
Right.
Yes. But you do have to be self-disciplined. There's no one out there really there to hold your hand to tell you how to do it, you know. So, but if you can link up with other drivers who are seasoned drivers, you know, get to know them and, you know, take some runs with them, and you will come out ahead a lot sooner, you know, because you'll learn more of the tricks of the trade.
Now on your YouTube channel, you probably talk about this quite a lot. It's a big part of your life.
It is.
So tell the folks your YouTube channel, any other social media?
Yeah, February 2018, I launched my channel, Miss J's Travels, on YouTube, and it's MSJ''S Travels, plural, on YouTube, and it's been growing. It's growing, and the channel, I've been able to share Q&As. A lot of viewers had questions, and I've shared that information. I've gone out on different RV deliveries, and I've taken the people with me.
What a great idea.
Yeah, I've taken my, viewers with me, and then I've had other new drivers for the very first time, fresh out of orientation. I've gone along with them, shared their experience on their first RV delivery.
What a great thing for you and for them.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
Really super.
Yeah.
And then the audience actually goes with you.
Absolutely.
Every step of the way.
Every
That's
step.
Very, very good.
Yes, it's wonderful. I'm really rewarded by the I guess the rewards that the people are having. You know, they're enjoying it, and that brings a smile to my face.
Good, really good. So in a sense, you could be, by doing these videos and being so generous with what you're doing, you could be creating more competition for yourself.
Yeah, that's true, Bob, and I do get that a lot, you know, because I am sharing so much. But you know, I always think that when you pay it forward, you know, I believe there's always going to be something there for me, regardless, you know, because if you try to receive a blessing with your hands closed, you're not going to receive it. So if you extend your hands out, give out, pay it forward, it's going to come back to you.
Karma always pays off in the end.
Yes.
Always
yes,
pays off in the end. Yeah.
Yes. So thank you, Bob.
I just so much appreciate your being here and sharing with us. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So folks, I know you got some great information there, and if you can't use it, you can share it with someone that does. So please do that. Pay it forward, open hands, open heart. If you got anything out of this video, like us on YouTube, subscribe to that channel, hit that thumbs up button. Go see Miss J's Travels. Tell them one more time.
It's Miss J's Travels, MSJ''S Travels with a plural. Miss J's Travels on YouTube.
So go see her and give her all those thumbs up, and we'll talk to you later.